Hey guys, how's it going? Today we have some awesome news. If you're a fan of affordable reprints for high-end cards as well as Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, you're going to be really happy right now. If you don't like either of those things, you're probably pretty upset. There is a brand new product coming out called the Legendary 5Ds deck. This is pretty exciting because Konami used to make a lot of these products a really long time ago. We had the Legendary Yugi's decks, and then we had Legendary Yugi's deck 2, then we had Legendary Dragon decks, and then we had Legendary Hero decks. So this isn't exactly a new product line, but Konami discontinued it a really long time ago, and even though some of the products were pretty hit or miss, I did like a lot of them. The Legendary Hero decks I wasn't crazy about, but I do like the fact that they gave us brand new Link monsters in that pack. You had the Phantom Knight Link monster, which was an amazing card by the way. Pretty much any dark deck was using that card just because getting a free Fogblade was always nice as well as popping cards. Then you had the Nordic Link, which was a pretty interesting card even though, Nordics really suck. They're pretty terrible. I hope they get some good support sometime in the future. And then you had the Hero Link monster, which was just really bad. So the most recent of the legendary decks wasn't really good, but I'm hoping that changes right now because we have a 5D centered product. Pretty much just confirms that we're not going to be getting the Yusei structure deck, the Power of Fellows, as a standalone product. I'm not too upset by that, just because if you've been following the new cards, even though we only have half of them revealed, we have 4 out of the 8, those new cards right now are so bad. Synchro Fellows is a really good spell card, but when you look at the quality of the monster cards, it really makes you question why Konami even made them. That new Junk Warrior Extreme is a terrible card right now. I honestly have no clue why they made that, and the fact that it's a boss monster and the cover for that structure deck is very sad. Angerbolt Hedgehog is terrible. I made a whole video talking about why the original Cobalt Hedgehog is better, and I don't even know why they wasted cardboard on the new Angerbolt Hedgehog. The new Full Speed Warrior right now as it stands is a bad card, but it can definitely get better in the future. That's one of the new cards I'm most hopeful about, and obviously we know that Synchro Fellows is good. So it makes sense that Konami does not want to make that a product by itself, because if they did, that structure deck is definitely going to flop and it's just going to sit on shelves because no one's really excited for Junk Warrior Extreme, and the OTK playstyle is incredibly limited and really boring. So what Konami did was a smart thing. They decided to make an actual cool product and made a Legendary 5Ds deck. I'm not going to read word for word off the site because I think that'd be pretty boring, and if you guys want to see more details, you can just read it because it's going to be up on the screen right now. So they're already reprinting the Molcharmi from Supreme Darkness, which I think is a good thing because based on how the dates work, I'm pretty sure Supreme Darkness actually misses the Megaton, so getting a reprint for that Molcharmi is pretty good, even though it's not really the best one. The Wind one is better. They're also reprinting Infinite Impermanence, which I think is a great thing. That is a really good card, and even the common prints for that thing is really expensive. The easiest copies to get are above $3, so if you're someone on a tight budget, this is really good for you. And I'm always really happy whenever we get reprints for staple cards that are in easy to get sets, just because people are already going to be buying this, so the Infinite Impermanence is going to be free because people who buy this are going to want the brand new cards. But if you're a new player and you want the new cards, you also just get Infinite Impermanence and Molcharmi for free. That's always a good thing because if you're a new player, more cards that are accessible to you are always a good thing. Now, definitely the reprints are going to be some of the most sought after, but I'm really excited for the new cards. You're going to have 3 signers who get support here, and you can already know that one of them is going to be Yusei. They're pretty much just importing his Power of Fellow structure deck in here, which, like I said, I'm not too upset about because that structure deck by itself is really bad and it was probably going to flop. So the fact that they're putting it in with 2 other characters is great because we're getting support for 2 signers. Konami is trying to be pretty mysterious about who these 2 characters are, but I'll explain why later, how we can already tell what characters we're getting. Like I said, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D, so anytime we get signer support, I'm really happy. The one thing I'm worried about is that they don't actually officially confirm that the signers, besides Yusei, are getting any new cards. They pretty much say that Yusei is getting new cards, which we already know from the Power of Fellow structure deck that's getting imported into here. So 8 brand new cards never released before pretty much sums up with the structure deck that Yusei is getting in the OCG. For people who don't know, every structure deck gets 8 new cards, so they're pretty much just bringing the structure deck one for Yusei, and hopefully they'll give him some other reprints and higher rarities, which I think would be a great thing, even though he's only getting 5 ultra rares, so that's not really that many. Now, we're also getting support for 2 other signers, and Konami is trying to be really secretive about these, but it's not really a mystery when we can already tell what characters we're getting. At the bottom here, they tell you about a special bonus, how each of these decks has a chibi version of the signer and their signer dragon, which obviously we know the first deck is Yusei, so you're going to get a chibi Yusei and a chibi Stardust dragon, which is cool for people who like those. I don't really care too much, but it's going to be nice because it's going to be a token as well. However, the reason why it's not a mystery what other 2 characters are getting support here is because if you look at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Arena, it shows you all the chibis and the chibi monsters for the characters. If you scroll down to Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, we see that there's Yusei, Jack, and Akiza. Those are the only 3 signers, so it's kind of pretty obvious which characters we're going to get here, and I'm somewhat sad because I love Blackwings, and I know a lot of people don't because Crow back in the day used to get a ton of support. He doesn't really now, but you know, people are still pretty upset about that for whatever reason. I'm pretty sad because, like I said, Akiza is already getting support in Doom of Dimensions. So based on Duel Arena, we know that the third signer is Akiza. So it also makes sense because she's getting support in Doom of Dimensions. So their Konami's gonna want to reprint a ton of cards for her, so you can play a full-on plant Rose Dragon strategy based on the character. So even though I'm happy for Akiza, like I said, I'm really sad for Crow just because no matter how much people complain about Blackwings in the past getting support, I will never be mad about new Blackwing cards. The archetype, in my opinion, is just way too cool, and I love the art design by them. So even if the cards are bad, they always look really nice. And like I said, I think Crow is a pretty cool character, and I love the Blackwing archetype. So anytime there'll be new Blackwing cards, I will be excited. I will never be angry over new Blackwing cards. Kind of sucks too that we know it's not going to be Crow just because he has no chibi art, but he has a chibi version of Blackwing Armor Master and Blackwing Dragon. It's really sad because he's only missing the chibi art, and if he had that, then there's a chance we'd get new Blackwing cards, but it's just not going to happen today. A lot of people know back when the new cards were revealed for Red Dragon Archfiend, I posted a ton of combos and videos based around them just because I really like Red Dragon Archfiend. Love the Resonators. I think they're really cool, and some of the random fiend monsters that Jack uses. Very surprising that we're getting reprints for Red Dragon Archfiend and Resonators just because Jack already has a full structure deck. So unlike Akiza, she's getting brand new cards, and she really needs the reprints because she didn't have a structure deck of her own. So some of her older cards were really hard to get, but not for Jack. A lot of his older cards were pretty accessible thanks to the structure deck. So it's very weird that they're doing kind of a double dip reprint for him. But like I said, like pretty much we know that Jack's gonna get support here, and that would be really interesting because I said that the next OCG character for 5Ds for a cover pack would be Jack Atlas, and this comes out around the same time as the next core set in the OCG. So this structure deck comes out in November in the TCG, and Burst Protocol comes out in October in the OCG. That means the next set that comes out in the OCG would be January, so that's going to be a 5D set, so it'd be really cool if Jack actually does get that. It's not a super big deal that Jack's getting the second slot just because, like I said before, we really don't need that many reprints for Red Dragon Archfiend or any of the Resonator cards because the structure deck kind of fixed that issue, but at the same time, I will never complain about Red Dragon Archfiend. That's one of my favorite decks. Well, to be honest, I actually like a lot of the 5D's decks, so I really don't hate any of the signers. Honestly, kind of sad that they're leaving out the twins because I think they could have probably charged a little bit more and made this a bigger product and just gave you 5 of the signer decks or even 6 if you want to include Crow. However, it's not too big of an issue. The twins probably will not receive any support anytime soon just because they're not that really popular of characters, so if you like Mortronics and Ancient Fairy Dragon, yeah, I guess you're out of luck. But if you're someone like me, you shouldn't worry if you like Blackwings just because Blackwings are an archetype that will definitely get more support soon, but it's pretty interesting. I made a video about this before talking about how Akiza basically became the poster child of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Before it used to be Crow, but it seems like Konami is streamlining him and trying to phase him out, and they're trying to make Akiza the number one character that they support. It's honestly crazy how much more support Akiza gets than the other 5Ds characters these days in the OCG, but now even in the TCG, she's getting way more support than Yusei and Jack. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.